Hello and welcome to FC Bayern München's official team presentation, brought to you from the Allianz Arena. We have quite a day in store for both the fans here in the stadium and those of you abroad watching via the World Wide Web. It is a glorious day here in the Bavarian capital. The sun is shining, the sky is blue, and the stadium is gradually getting itself packed out. A near sold out stadium. A couple of tickets still remaining, though you can rest assured that will probably be the last time this season that this place isn't packed out to the rafters and sold out every single home game. Take a look at the schedule that's going to be going on today. We are going to be on live for about 2.5 hours. Don't worry, I won't be talking the whole entire time. There's plenty for you to enjoy. We'll have the official welcome, an interview with Karl-Heinz Rummenigge coming up first, the presentation of the German Meisterschale, and then a few musical interludes, followed by the team presentation at 3:20 here in Germany. The Bayern players, of course, coming out with their escorts to be presented in front of the fans here at the Allianz Arena. After that, there'll be a few other show acts, a CSR donation handover, and then it will get to the stage where we'll be watching the players train live in their first public training session here at the Allianz Arena in the coming season, and it promises to be quite an exciting one as well. Of course, we've had big news talking of transfers. Douglas Costa coming in, Joshua Kimmich, Sven Ulreich joining the club, and then the bombshell that landed earlier today, Karl-Heinz Rummenigge confirming that Bastian Schweinsteiger, the Fußballgott amongst Bayern fans, would be leaving the club to join Manchester United. A hot topic that we'll be talking about later today. I'm sure a player that will be fondly remembered, of course, by both fans and club officials. And it does come as a bit of a hammer blow, it has to be said, on the cusp of this team presentation. The players taking part in a photo session earlier today. Schweinsteiger not in tow on that occasion. Of course, at the end of last season, he made his 500th appearance as a professional footballer for the German record title holders in that 2-0 win over Mainz on the final day of the campaign. And he will sorely, sorely be missed. Of course, not just on the field, where, if we're being honest, midfield replacements are not hard to come by for Bayern, but in the dressing room and behind the scenes, he is the heart of this club and a key member of Pep Guardiola's squad. And here we have Karl-Heinz Rummenigge, fresh from his press conference, talking about Bastian Schweinsteiger coming out. Rousing reception from the fans for the club chairman. So Karl-Heinz Rummenigge there being asked whether the 25th one was a particularly special one based on it being on the back of a World Cup year. Karl-Heinz Rummenigge here thanking the roughly 70,000 fans that have turned up here, saying they experienced something similar in Barcelona once and he wanted to see that happen here in Munich, and that's what's happened today. Saying when he joined the club, Bayern were in 13th place in the table. There have been a few more, let's say, dramatic title wins.
Eigentlich in den Saisons nach einer Weltmeisterschaft immer ein bisschen gelitten und in diesem Jahr glücklicherweise nicht. Die Mannschaft und die Trainer haben das großartig gemacht und wenn man dann mit 10 Punkten Vorsprung die deutsche Meisterschaft
And
gewinnt,
mentioning
dann
the
ist das
fact
mehr
that they
als
have
verdient.
in the past struggled after major summer tournaments involving national team players, but saying thankfully that wasn't the case last season.
Was für Zielsetzungen, Karl-Heinz, geht denn unser Verein jetzt dann auch in die neue Saison? Ist das eine dumme Frage?
Ja, ich meine, wir sind in 3 Wettbewerben. Deutsche Meisterschaft, DFB-Pokal und Champions League.
Now he's talking about the upcoming season, saying they're in 3 competitions. There is the Meisterschale, the catacombs of the Allianz Arena.
Auch dem FC Bayern in der Vergangenheit nicht, in den 70er, 80er, 90er oder 2000er Jahren nicht gelungen, sie 4-mal hintereinander zu gewinnen. Wir wollen das in diesem Jahr packen und wir wollen dann in diesem Jahr zum 4. Mal auch die Meisterschaft hier in München wieder mit unseren Fans gemeinsam feiern. In den anderen beiden Wettbewerben braucht man
Pick
ein
up the
bisschen Glück.
Bundesliga title for a 4th consecutive time to present it to the fans, reflecting also on the success of the club in recent decades.
Dass es dann schwierig ist. Aber ich glaube, wir haben eine sehr gute Mannschaft in diesem Jahr.
Saying it's not necessarily going to be straightforward, but they've got a very good team.
Voll anzugreifen und ich hoffe und wünsche, das wäre natürlich wunderbar,
hoping
wenn
that
wir
the
nach
club can
2001 auch im nächsten
really
Jahr
go full throttle in the Champions League as well.
2016 ist es dann in Mailand auf dem Platz stehen dürfen.
Back-to-back years,
Das wäre natürlich ein schönes Ziel.
losing
Lieber
in the
Karl-Heinz,
semi-finals,
jetzt haben wir so
firstly
viel
to Real
geredet
Madrid,
über die Meisterschaft. Jetzt wollen
and
wir
then
dieses
Barcelona last
obskure
season.
Objekt der Begierde auch noch mal
Something
anschauen.
that's often said,
Bitte schön, darf ich denn
the
unser
Bundesliga
Bernie,
title is,
liebe Kinder,
without a
Bernie
without a doubt, the most
Hier ist
important
Bernie
title.
und bringt die offizielle
But
deutsche
ask anyone
Meisterschale
around this club,
wieder
no one
wieder.
will
Der
say no
FC
to
Bayern
another
gehört.
Champions League win. And here comes the
Bravo,
Meisterschale.
Bernie. Gut macht das.
The 24th Bundesliga title, but the 25th time Bayern have been crowned German champions. Overall, of course, the Bundesliga only being founded in 1963.
So schaut's ja aus. Du hast das putzt, Bernie. Ja, ist sauber. Neues Recht.
Thumbs up from
Karl-Heinz,
Bernie, the
eine
mascot.
Frage muss ich Ihnen stellen als Vorstandsvorsitzender. Es ist das Thema unter den Bayern-Fans in den letzten Stunden. Auch ich als langjähriger Fan, als Mitglied dieses Vereins, muss ehrlich sagen, dass ich da so emotional ein bisschen ein Kloß im Hals habe. Denn einer unserer Spieler, ein Eigengewächs, seit 1998 im Verein, einer unserer großen Stützen, der Liebling der Fans, unser Bastian Schweinsteiger, hat eigentlich ja auch bekannt gegeben, oder es ist so gut wie durch, dass er wechseln wird zu Manchester United.
Of course, the hot topic, Bastian Schweinsteiger moving to Man United, and you can hear what the fans think about that.
Ich glaube, Karl-Heinz, das versteht man.
Ja, ich
Disappointment in the ranks.
möchte Ihnen eins sagen, vielleicht erkläre ich Ihnen mal die Geschichte zumindest in Kurzform. Bastian und ich, wir hatten uns verabredet vor seinem Urlaub, dass wir nach seinem Urlaub ein Gespräch führen. Dieses Gespräch haben wir gestern geführt. Und in diesem
Karl-Heinz
Gespräch
Rummenigge
hat er mir
and Bastian
mitgeteilt, dass
Schweinsteiger
er
had a
sich
meeting
während seinem
yesterday
Urlaub Gedanken gemacht hat,
to
dass
talk
er
about his
zum Ende
future,
seiner Karriere noch mal etwas Neues machen möchte.
and he wanted a
Im
new
Prinzip
challenge
hat er mir klar und
in
deutlich
his
zum
career.
Ausdruck gegeben, es ist sein Wunsch, dass wir einem Transfer von ihm zu Manchester United akzeptieren. Wir haben ein wirklich sehr emotionales, seriöses und ausführliches Gespräch gehabt. Und ich
It was
mache
a
auch
very
keinen Hehl
emotional and
daraus,
serious
dass da
talk
viel
between the
Wehmut
two.
mitklingt. Ja, ein Spieler, der 17 Jahre bei Bayern München
Player
gespielt
that's
hat,
been
mit
at the
dem
club
wir
for
alles gewonnen
17
haben,
years,
der bei den Fans extrem beliebt ist. Das ist schon
Loved by the
kein
fans.
normales Gespräch, sondern das hat schon eine andere Qualität als das, was man vielleicht dann hin und wieder bei einem Transfer erlebt. Und ich habe totales Verständnis dafür, dass das bei den Fans eben zu großen Diskussionen führt. Ich glaube aber,
Rummenigge saying he understands
wenn ein
why
Spieler,
it's a
der so
big
lange bei Bayern
talking
München
point
ist,
amongst the
diesen Wunsch
fans.
äußert, ich glaube, dann wären wir ein bisschen hartherzig, wenn wir dem einfach einen Riegel vor die Tür schieben würden. Ich habe erlebt 1977 Franz Beckenbauer zum Ende seiner Karriere, dass er nach New York gegangen ist. Ich habe Günter Netzer erlebt, dass er zum Ende seiner Karriere nach Madrid gegangen
Former
ist.
Bayern legends that have ended up leaving the club, Franz Beckenbauer moving to New York, Günter Netzer leaving the club too.
Aber auch irgendwo ein gerütteltes Maß an Verständnis dafür, dass ein Spieler, der immer bei Bayern München gespielt hat, dann ganz einfach zum Schluss eben nochmal diese neue Erfahrung machen möchte. Es ist diese neue Motivation, diesen neuen Antrieb und am Ende des Tages auch damit eine neue Erfahrung einverleiben möchte. Ich bitte um Verständnis.
Saying
Und
he
ich glaube,
is asking the fans
dass
to
das eine ganz schwierige Entscheidung
show
ist.
understanding.
Das war keine
That
Attacke
Schweinsteiger
oder so.
does want new motivation
Geschichte gewesen, die wir jetzt
and a
innerhalb
new
von 5
experience in his career.
Minuten entschieden haben, sondern die ist eigentlich sehr stark bei Bastian speziell gereift. Ich bedauere das, ich mache keinen Hehl daraus, aber ich glaube, wir müssen auch berücksichtigen, eben wie gesagt, die Verdienste, die Bastian sich hier um diesen Club erworben hat und dass man einem solchen Spieler dann auch seinen Wunsch erfüllt. Bastian wird,
Saying it's important to let the player, in this case Bastian Schweinsteiger, fulfill his wish essentially to move to another club and seek out a new challenge.
ich habe mit ihm gesprochen und wir haben ihm Folgendes auch zugesagt. Wenn er seine Karriere beendet, werden wir ihm hier in dieser Allianz Arena ein Abschiedsspiel
Now
schenken.
confirms that
Also
when
Bastian wird
Schweinsteiger
auf
does
jeden Fall
eventually
nochmal in
hang up
dieser
his
Arena
boots,
spielen.
they will have a game here to commemorate his career at the Allianz Arena. And again, it may not be what they wanted to hear, but the fans pleased at least that they will get to see him tread this hallowed turf one more time.
Das heißt, wenn er Lust hat, beim FC Bayern eine zweite Karriere zu starten, steht die Tür dafür auf.
Saying
Er
the
ist ein
door
Mann,
is always
ich würde
open for him
sagen,
should he
immer
want to
einer,
start
der
a
so
second
Nagata
career
bei uns war, also
with
ein Mann,
Bayern.
der besonders willkommen beim FC Bayern ist. Ich glaube, wir tun gut daran, wenn wir Bastian hochleben lassen, wenn wir die ganzen Verdienste, die er hat, mit großer Anerkennung Revue passieren lassen, aber dass wir auch, glaube ich, bereit sind, seinen Wunsch zu respektieren.
Karl-Heinz Rummenigge,
Saying
ich danke
we are
Ihnen sehr für
respecting
dieses
his
klare
wish, but knows that he will always be loved by Bayern fans.
Danke, Karl-Heinz. Auch dass Sie sich natürlich hier hinstellen und was unseren Fans, die zum Teil von weit hergekommen sind, um hier unsere Mannschaft jetzt gleich zu begrüßen.
But now we're going to see
Auch mal zu erklären.
the real heroes
So, ich habe schon mal gesagt, alle
for the upcoming season.
Wir sind heute hier in diesem schönen Stadion mit einer tollen Veranstaltung, auch dank unserer Freunde der Allianz. Natürlich, alles, was wir hier tun für die Stiftung Allianz für Kinder, das habe ich Ihnen schon erklärt.
First up, though, we're going to have a few
Schön an alle Kinder und
performances.
diversen Projekten, sozialen Einrichtungen, die hier am Spielfeldrand stehen. Und ich möchte gerne den Chef, quasi den Vorstandsvorsitzenden der Allianz Deutschland, auch kurz zu uns bitten. Dr. Manfred Knof. Herr Knof, bitte kommen Sie doch kurz zu uns. Dankeschön, dass Sie das möglich gemacht haben. Viele Allianz-Mitarbeiter auch heute hier im Stadion. Das ist der Chef. Herr Knof,
Here we have the
Herr Knof,
CEO of Allianz Germany.
FC Bayern und die Allianz. Und es gibt ja immer so Partnerschaften und dann gibt es freundschaftliche Partnerschaften oder richtige Freundschaften. Und
Of course, this is all
hoffe, Sie
in the
sind
spirit
das passt schon.
of goodwill.
FC Bayern und die Allianz.
Super, wenn ich hier im Stadion schaue. So viele, die aus ganz Deutschland gekommen sind, nicht nur aus Bayern. Heute Morgen um 4 Uhr sind
Saying it's fantastic to see how many people have come from all over Germany.
und der FC Bayern ist auch unser Club. Und auch ich gratuliere im Namen der Allianz, lieber Rummenigge, zur 25. Meisterschaft. Nicht nur der Männer, sondern auch zum Titel der Frauen. Und darüber sind wir richtig
Now
stolz.
congratulating Bayern on winning their 25th title, but also congratulating the women's team who also were crowned German champions at the end of last season.
1890 gegründet, das ist ja auch, da ist ja auch eine Historie dahinter, eine Geschichte, ähnlich wie beim FC Bayern München.
Ja, wir passen gut zusammen. Und deshalb haben wir auch heute
Now talking about the cooperation between Bayern and Allianz.
Kinder, Behinderte mit ihren Partnern sind hier und ich bin ganz stolz, dass das der FC Bayern und die Allianz für die Kinder hier zustande gebracht haben. Ich begrüße Sie alle hier ganz herzlich.
Warm welcome to everyone here
Wir haben vorhin auch schon einen riesen Applaus bekommen, Herr Knof.
from Dr. Manfred Knof.
Stiftung Allianz für Kinder, die seit mehr als 20 Jahren ja in vielen Einrichtungen, vielen sozialen Projekten tätig ist. Jetzt nochmal 125 zusätzliche. Sie machen das ja nicht erst seit gestern. Das ist ja eine sehr schöne Arbeit, die ja, glaube ich, aber ohne ihre Mitarbeiter, die innerhalb der Allianz das alles bewerkstelligen, auch gar nicht möglich wäre.
Ja, es ist uns eine Herzensangelegenheit und vor allen Dingen eine Herzensangelegenheit unserer Mitarbeiter und Vertreter. Sie alle haben diese Projekte
Now a
identifiziert.
quick word for the
Da machen wir gerne mit. Und ich bin
Allianz
auch
employees
stolz, dass das hier zusammen möglich ist.
who are standing around the edge of the pitch right now, right in the sun.
Eingeladen werden zu uns nach Bayern, um da ihre Fußballkünste zu zeigen. Das ist ja auch schon ein Klassiker. Aber sie sind ja auch, und jetzt spannen wir den Bogen, auch im Bereich der Kultur sehr aktiv.
Ja, wir sind nicht nur im Sport aktiv, aber auch in der Kultur. Und ja, wir haben auch dort einen riesen Markenbotschafter. Und nicht nur Sport, sondern auch Kultur ist eine große Angelegenheit. Und für heute haben wir unseren Markenbotschafter und einen ganz großen Star der Klassik hier. Begrüßen Sie mit mir und heißen ihn herzlich willkommen. Lang Lang!
Meine Damen und Herren, hier ist der beste Pianist der Welt. Umjubelt auf den Bühnen Lang Lang. Im Bayern-Trikot. Wow. Lang Lang. Pleased to meet you. It's a
Best
pleasure.
pianist in the world.
Er wird begleitet, das darf
With the
ich
Bayern
zusammen
kits on
Prinz Karl
as well.
Er wird begleitet, das darf ich Ihnen kurz erklären, an dieser Stelle von Jan und Zimovic. Es findet ja auch immer ein Wettbewerb statt, Lang Lang zusammen mit der Allianz für seine Music Foundation. Da werden eben Nachwuchspianisten weltweit, wenn Sie das so wollen, gecastet. Und diese beiden Buben waren letztes Jahr in Barcelona mit dabei und werden uns gleich zeigen, was sie drauf haben.
So to say,
Lang Lang. It's really a pleasure to have you
world of
here.
culture,
Really, and you got
course,
a
talking
nice
about the
shirt.
fact that Allianz
Well, really,
are not
it's
just
Lang
involved
Lang im Bayern München Trikot,
in
meine Damen und Herren.
sport,
Das
but
muss man
also
sich mal auf der Zunge
cultural
zergehen
affairs
lassen.
as well.
Lang Lang. It's your first time to play in the Allianz Arena here in Munich?
Absolutely. I'm so excited and I'm so proud of my two prodigies. Yeah. And I love this place. I went here before to see the game for Bayern Munich and I'm so happy to play for them today.
Lang Lang war schon mal bei uns, er hat sich schon mal ein Spiel des FC Bayern München angeschaut, aber er ist jetzt auch erfreut und auch ein bisschen nervös, dass er zusammen mit seinen beiden kongenialen Pianistenfreunden heute hier für uns spielen wird. Who is what's your name? Jamek, okay. Are you a little bit nervous, Jamek? Is it your first time performing live in such a big stadium?
Yes, for life it's first time, but I'm just a little bit nervous.
Just a little bit. Ich habe ihn gefragt, ob er arg nervös ist, ob ihm arg das Herz geht, wenn er das erste Mal vor so einem großen Publikum spielt. Aber er sagt, na, das passt schon, das wird schon hinhauen. Und wollen wir es ein bisschen aufmuntern, vielleicht ein kleiner Aufmunterungsapplaus an unsere beiden Nachwuchspianisten, beide 15 Jahre alt, aus Kroatien und aus Polen. I would like to recommend, would you like to play right now? Wollen wir sie spielen lassen, liebe Bayern-Fans? An dieser Stelle danke schon mal an Herrn Knof und Karl-Heinz Rummenigge, Dankeschön. Wir lassen unsere beiden Nachwuchspianisten jetzt etwas performen, Freunde, das habt ihr so auch noch nicht gesehen. Und zwar werden sie sich zu zweit ans Klavier setzen und mit 4 Händen den berühmten ungarischen Tanz von Brahms spielen. Unter der künstlerischen Leitung von Lang Lang, wie gesagt, ein Wettbewerb, der da jährlich stattfindet. Lang Lang zusammen mit der Allianz auf der Suche nach großen Nachwuchsmusiktalenten. Und
This should be the first of 3 songs
diese
they're going to
beiden,
perform.
Jan Nikovic
piano
aus
pieces, I should say,
Kroatien
not
und
songs.
Simovic Switalski aus Polen,
So I will sit back.
waren
let
letztes
you
Jahr
enjoy
in
it.
Barcelona dabei. Und jetzt für euch, liebe Bayern, bei der Team Presentation des FC Bayern München. Maximovic
Big round of
Switalski, der
applause for the two
ungarische
young
Tanz von
pianists there.
Brahms.
Fast
Hey.
fingers being displayed by those two. We'll
When
see
did
some
you
fast
start
feet
playing
later when the
piano?
FC
Just one
Bayern
question.
players
When did you start playing piano?
complete a 75-minute training session.
I was 6.
Mit 6 Jahren hat er angefangen, Klavier zu spielen. Jetzt ist er 15 und schon so ein Meister seines Fachs. Thank you. Come back again. We love you. Thank you. Unsere beiden. Und jetzt, Freunde, Steinway Sons. Und hier sitzt er. Kriegt schon direkt Gänsehaut, ganz ehrlich. Meine Damen und Herren, das schafft nur der FC Bayern mit der Allianz. Hier ist der weltbeste Pianist. Hier ist Lang Lang mit dem türkischen Marsch von Mozart.
And there you have it, a performance from the best piano player in the world. Not surprising as a title like that. Personally, very much enjoyed the moments where he was not even looking at the keys.
Hat eine Überraschung für uns. Was hat Lang Lang einstudiert?
Here we go, I wonder what he could have up his sleeve. Of course, Stern des Südens, the club's official anthem. What a way to get us kicked off at FC Bayern München's official season opener. time is almost upon us. The team presentation. Some Bayern fans, it'll be a first look at some of the new signings. Many excited about Douglas Costa, especially. Something that is somewhat unique to Bayern, doing a team presentation like this, but when you can almost sell out the Allianz Arena, it's a fantastic opportunity for the fans to see the stars and then see them in action as well. And they go through, put through their paces by head coach Pep Guardiola. And overall, just a fantastic day out. Ticket proceeds go to charity. Brilliant way to add to the anticipation surrounding the start of the 53rd Bundesliga campaign. And of course looking to defend their title. There are a few blips in the road towards the end of last season. But quite frankly, this is one of the most dominant sides in world football today. Pep Guardiola working his magic in many ways, and there are the players. They're ready and waiting. Mascots with them. Ready to get up on the stage. Music fades. I think it is that time now.
Der offizielle Start in die neue Saison des deutschen Rekordmeisters des FC Bayern. Bei strahlend schönem Sommerwetter in der ausverkauften Allianz Arena München. Nochmal von meiner Seite aus. Seid ihr gut drauf? Wollen wir jetzt langsam aber sicher die Mannschaft holen? Wo sind die Roten im Stadion? Die Fans des FC Bayern München! Dann packen wir so, oder? Wir haben noch ein bisschen was vor heute. Also, ich freue mich sehr, dass jetzt die Musik zu dieser Team Presentation, wie man ja neuerdings sagt, also zur Mannschaftsvorstellung, dass die heute quasi aufgelegt wird, angeleitet wird, aufgedeckt wird.
Stefan Lehmann getting everyone excited.
Mit seinen Kompositionen weltweit die Charts stürmt. Er ist der Hotspot, wenn man so will, musikalisch. Hier ist Robin Schulz, heute hier bei uns. Robin, komm zu uns.
All the players come out. Robin Schulz is the first out of the tunnel.
Robin, right over here. Er geht zu seinem DJ-Pult. Robin Schulz. Es gibt kein
DJ
Festival,
booth set up, ready to go.
wo er nicht, auch zusammen mit David Guetta,
To provide
schon für Ekstase
musical
gesorgt
background
hat und
noise
heute
to
hier für uns beim FC Bayern.
get the party going, so to say, here in the Allianz Arena.
Okay.
Of course, a big FC Bayern München logo on the back of his laptop there. The fans are starting to get on their feet. We've got a few dancers in the stands.
Also dann, Ladies and Gentlemen, fangen wir
Very
an.
famous DJ here in this part of the world.
Das ist der offizielle Lizenzspielerkader des FC Bayern München für die kommende Saison 2015-2016. Fangen wir an mit der Nummer 1. Er war schon bei uns, da war er kurz wieder weg, aber er hat sich gedacht, in München ist es so schön, da komme ich doch wieder. Julian Green. Julian.
Julian Green back in Bayern colours, having spent last season on loan at Hamburg.
Hi Julian, mit unseren Escort Kids. Hi. Auch er, einer unserer Youngster, auch er hat noch viel vor sich beim FC Bayern München. Sinan Kurt.
Sinan Kurt made his Bundesliga debut towards the back end of last season.
Auch er ist einer unserer Jüngsten und er hat
Very
schon zeigen
exciting
dürfen in der
prospect,
ersten
Sinan Kurt.
Mannschaft, was er
And here's
drauf
another
hat.
one as well.
Auch ihm gehört die Zukunft.
Gianluca Gaudino. Seen as one of the future faces of FC Bayern.
Auch er ist ein sehr, sehr vielversprechendes Nachwuchstalent in Deutschland und er wird sich gedacht haben, ja mei, wenn der FC Bayern ruft, dann
Now the
Kimmich.
first
Hier
of 3
ist
new signings.
Joshua Kimmich, unser Neuzugang. Herzlich willkommen in München, Joshua.
It's important that you may have caught it there, Stefan Lehmann saying Joshua as opposed to Joshua. That is exactly how it's meant to be pronounced.
Hat massiv
Youngster claimed in an
dazu
interview earlier that his mum always gets
beigetragen,
annoyed when
dass
people
der
get his
FC
name wrong. So
in der kommenden
Joshua
Saison
Kimmich it is.
international spielt. Aber da haben wir gesagt, na, das ist einer von uns, den wollen wir gern wieder. Pierre-Emile Heuberg.
Now another returning star. Lots of fans very excited to see whether Pierre-Emile Heuberg can make his breakthrough
Auch er
in the
immer
current
da,
campaign.
wenn's mal brennt in der ersten Mannschaft. Ivan Lucic aus dem Torwartteam. Ivan.
One of 4 goalkeepers.
Und dann ein Mann, meine
On the
Damen
Bayern
und
books,
Herren, jetzt
Lucic.
müssen wir Schwäbisch schwätzen, gell?
now
Ja.
another one.
Er kommt vom VfB Stuttgart, große Schlagzeile. Ich finde das cool, dass er diesen Schritt gegangen ist. Ich freue mich auf Sven Ulreich,
Sven Ulreich signed from VfB Stuttgart.
der unser
The
Torwartteam
first choice keeper
verstärken
there.
wird.
May have to settle for a role on the bench more often than not with Bayern.
Dann darf er nicht fehlen. Tom Starke.
Tom Starke, a fan favourite.
Und auch er nach einem kleinen Abstecher trägt er wieder das Trikot, was ihm meiner Meinung nach am besten steht. Er ist wieder bei uns, Jan Kirchhoff. Hallo Jan.
Jan Kirchhoff
Leiste
back
Hängeberg.
from Schalke. Few injury
Auch
niggles here and there.
wie ich finde, ein Mann, der
seen
sich
him
so
suffer regular
schnell
setbacks, but he'll be
akklimatisiert
hoping to
hat,
have a
der immer Vollgas gibt für
good
die
campaign
Mannschaft.
with Bayern.
Ich bin so froh, dass er bei uns ist. Sebastian Rode.
Sebastian Rode gets a rousing reception from the fans, and rightly so. He was an incredibly important player for Bayern last season.
Und er,
stepping
mein
up
Gott,
when
ist
other
das
players
schön.
were injured.
Er war so lange verletzt.
Here
Für
is
mich
one of
ist
those
er einer
players that
unserer
was
Besten. Ich bin ganz
injured for
ehrlich.
such a long
Hier
time.
ist Welcome back, Javi Martinez.
Javi Martinez, they are happy to see Javi Martinez. Missed out most of last season with a knee ligament injury suffered against Dortmund in the Super Cup. He too will be hoping to stay fit for the majority
So,
of the
jawohl,
upcoming
und auch
campaign.
er kam, sah und spielte. Fast jedes Spiel gemacht auf der linken Abwehrseite. Juan Bernat. Muchas gracias, Juan.
Compatriot Juan Bernat, who, as Stefan Lehmann pointed out, barely missed a game last season.
Er ist einer unserer Neuen, ihr habt das alle mitbekommen, kam von Schachtyor Donetsk, auch ein Wahnsinns-Brasilianer, der steht uns noch. Hier ist Douglas Costa.
The new signing from
Welcome
Shakhtar
to
Donetsk.
Munich. Douglas, lass dich anschauen. Und
Well,
auch
Brazil
er,
squad
so ein
Copa
Stützpfeiler
America,
unseres Teams.
joined up with
Was
his
hat der
new
Mann
teammates for the
Gas
first
gegeben
time
in den
yesterday.
letzten Jahren? Hier ist Rafinha.
Rafinha, another fan favourite, always reliable, the right
Auch
back.
er in der Verteidigung, einer unserer Stützpfeiler. Mehdi Benatia, da ist er. Gut schaut er aus, frisch aus dem Urlaub zurück.
Here was the big name signing
Wenn wir
alongside
gerade
Robert
Rafinha
Lewandowski
gesehen
last
haben,
season.
dann wissen die Bayern-Fans, es gibt eigentlich 2 Musikbeauftragte bei dem FC Bayern München. Und wenn die beiden loslegen, dann geht's ab. Hier ist einer meiner Lieblinge, das ist Dante!
Dante potentially going to miss the start of the season after injuring himself playing
Auch
volley.
er war so lange verletzt.
During the
Und dann
holidays.
zeigt er uns allen, dass er, wie ich finde, einer der besten und perfektesten Fußballer der Welt ist. Wie schön, dass er das Bayern-Trikot trägt. Thiago!
Again, this is a player that everyone's excited to see whether he can remain fit and injury-free, because he could play a key role in midfield, especially in light of Bastian Schweinsteiger's departure.
Der Pechvogel, der sich immer wieder zurückkämpft und der immer wieder zeigt, was er für ein geiler Kicker ist. Hier ist Holger Bartstuber. Holger, die Nummer 28 im Team des FC Bayern.
Stuber, of course, made his long-awaited return from injury last at the start of the season as well, 2015-16. Social media savvy, David Alaba, seen by many as the natural successor to Schweinsteiger in the centre of midfield.
Ich weiß, dass er wiederkommt. Ich weiß, dass er wieder spielen wird beim FC Bayern. Franck Ribéry!
Deafening reception from the fans here in the stadium for Franck Ribéry. He will miss the beginning of the season through injury.
Hat genau das getan, was wir von ihm erhofft hatten. Schießt Tore. Ist der Mittelstürmer schlechthin. Das ist Robert Lewandowski.
Out and out, number 9, the man who leads the line, Robert Lewandowski, next out of the tunnel.
Und auch einer der besten Fußballspieler Deutschlands, der Siegtorschütze im WM-Finale. Hier ist unser Mario Götze!
Scorer of the winning goal in the World Cup final as Germany beat Argentina last summer.
Wir haben sozusagen, hier ist, was spielt dieser Mann für einen Fußball in der Abwehr? Jerome Boateng!
One of the best central defenders in the world, Jerome Boateng.
Und auch ohne Anlaufschwierigkeiten kam, sah und spielte. Unser Stützpfeiler Xabi Alonso.
Xabi Alonso changing his shirt number.
Ja, wir sehen ihn.
Number 3, 214.
Der Weltmeister.
Fans were getting excited even before Thomas Müller came out of the tunnel. They saw him on the big screens. Certainly one of the hot candidates to take over Bastian Schweinsteiger's Fußballgott tag.
Mr. Wembley, Arjen Robben!
Arjen Robben in the form of his career last season.
Auch wieder fit.
Injury put stop to that towards the end of the season. He'll be looking to hit the ground running again in 2015-16. Now the number 1.
Manuel Neuer.
Fair to say there isn't a safer pair of hands in world football.
Il capitano Philipp Lahm.
Now the captain, Philipp Lahm.
Das alles auch, Freunde, dieses Jahr unter dem
Running out of space at the end of the stage.
Da sind die Assistenten, die tagtäglich mit der Mannschaft auch arbeiten. Als da wäre, kommt her, lasst euch anschauen. Dominik Torrent, der Torwarttrainer Toni Tapalovic und unser Tiger, Hermann Gerland. Die Assistenten. Und natürlich braucht es einen Chef. Der Mann, der zweimal deutscher Meister geworden ist, hier gleich in den ersten beiden Jahren. Hier ist Pep Guardiola!
Now the man in charge. 2 Bundesliga titles in 2 years. Add to that, a DFB Cup as well.
Das ist die Mannschaft.
If you're a betting person,
unser Stolz.
you'd certainly put money on him adding to his trophy cabinet again. There you have it. The FC Bayern Stars will be looking to defend their Bundesliga title next season. Of course, Karl-Heinz Rummenigge did make it clear that their squad planning wasn't done yet, so there could still be a few faces added to this lineup. Freshly shaved Frank Ribery by the look of it there. He's done away with the bearded look sported most of last season. Quite frankly, days like today are what make FC Bayern such a special club. That family feel that comes along with being a professional football club, knowing what it means to the fans to be here to see their stars in the flesh.
Diese Ausnahmekicker, die Mannschaft des FC Bayern München. Und ich habe eingangs gesagt, liebe Bayern, liebe Mamas, Papas, Omas, Opas, liebe Kinder, dass das alles heute, was der FC Bayern mit der Allianz macht, diese Team Presentation, diese Mannschaftsvorstellung, mit großen Stars wie Lang bei uns, dass das alles natürlich auch einem guten Zweck zukommt, nämlich der Stiftung, Allianz Stiftung für Kinder. Seit über 20 Jahren unterstützt die Allianz in vielfältigen Projekten und sozialen Einrichtungen eben Kinder, Jugendliche, die es nicht so leicht haben im Leben wie wir. Und das alles kommt zusammen für diesen guten Zweck und da ist es natürlich schön, der nächste Programmpunkt, wenn ich es so sagen darf, da freue ich mich auch sehr, dass ich meinen lieben Kollegen begrüßen darf an dieser Stelle. Wer kennt ihn nicht als Fußballfan in Deutschland? Legendär, seine launigen Talks mit Günter Netzer bei den großen Veranstaltungen. Schön, dass du da bist. Gerhard Delling.
Ja, vielen Dank, Stefan. Du siehst auf jeden Fall besser aus. Das ist schon mal ein Vorteil.
Alter, auf, du hast einen Anzug an.
Ja, das stimmt. Ist auch schön warm heute. Und das ist schon ein gutes Stichwort. Du hast vorhin alle begrüßt, die Bayern-Fans sind hier. Ganz viele aus Bayern. Ich habe Berliner tatsächlich auch getroffen, schon oben auf der Tribüne. Aber du hast vergessen die Nordlichter. Ich bin heute Morgen am Flughafen gewesen und es waren so viele Kinder und Eltern mit ihren die Eltern mit ihren Kindern auf dem Weg hierher im Bayern-Trikot, die extra hierher gekommen sind. Tolle Sache, 70.000, unfassbar.
Mit dir am Hamburger Flughafen oder was?
Mit mir am Hamburger Flughafen. Wir haben heute auch schon einige Dinge durchgesprochen. Deswegen können wir uns das jetzt sparen. Kommt zu einer ganz wichtigen Sache, weil da hinten schon die Kinder warten, die zum Abklatschen bereitstehen mit den absoluten Bayern-Stars. Jetzt geht es ums Geld, ums wichtige Geld. Und dazu bitte ich nochmal Herrn Dr. Knof, Vorstandsvorsitzender der Allianz Deutschland, hierher. Bitte, Herr Knof. An dieser Stelle gibt es manchmal einen Applaus. So, wir wollen das gar nicht unnötig verlängern, nur noch mal zum Verständnis. 125 Jahre Allianz, das große Jubiläum, hieß in diesem Fall eine Besonderheit, 125 Projekte. Wie sahen die aus? Was war so der Grundgedanke dahinter?
Ja, wir haben uns gedacht, zum Jubiläumsjahr wollen wir noch mal besonders viel für die Kinder tun. Es geht uns in der Stiftung darum, behinderte Kinder zu fördern. Auch dass behinderte und normale Kinder zusammen Sport machen, liegt uns am ganzen Herzen. Und das nicht nur hier in München, sondern überall, wo die Allianz in Deutschland vertreten ist. Deshalb haben die Mitarbeiterinnen und Vertreter in ganz Deutschland überall 125 Projekte eingereicht. Und wir sind froh, dass wir sie fördern und unterstützen können aus ganz Deutschland.
Ja, das ist einmal das Gute, das ist so wie Bayern, nicht? In ganz Deutschland nicht nur bekannt, sondern auch beliebt. Und deswegen kommen die Fans aus ganz Deutschland. Gilt auch für diese Geschichte. Vorhin klang schon an, die Mitarbeiter der Allianz sind da richtig mit einbezogen. Die haben nicht nur gespendet zum Teil, sondern von denen kommen auch tatsächlich die Ideen.
Ja, die Ideen kommen von den Mitarbeitern aus ganz Deutschland und darauf sind wir richtig stolz. Und ich bin ganz stolz auf die Allianzer. 18.000 sind hier aus ganz Deutschland, ich kann es kaum glauben. Liebe Allianzer, ganz herzlichen Dank und seien Sie mir willkommen.
Wo sind die Allianzer? 18.000, die auch alle eine Karte erworben haben und damit kommen wir zum Punkt. Jede Karte, die heute gekauft wurde, jedes Ticket zählt für die Stiftung Allianz für Kinder und deswegen wollen wir mal sehen, was bei rausgekommen ist heute. Ich darf den Vorstandsvorsitzenden von Bayern München, Karl-Heinz Rummenigge, Herrn Dr. Nietzsche und Herrn Dr. Dölle von der Kinderstiftung hierher bitten. So, erst machen wir das große Danke und jetzt sind wir gespannt auf die Zahlen. Bitte, kommen Sie. Herr Dr. Knof, bitte, wie viel ist es geworden?
Ja, ich bin selber überrascht. Ich muss mal schauen. Das ist ja unglaublich. Mehr als eine halbe Million. Über 500.000, ganz genau. 502.835 Euro. Vielen, vielen Dank.
Allianz for Kids Charity.
Über eine halbe Million für den guten Zweck. Das ist eine tolle Geschichte. Karl-Heinz, ich meine, bei diesem Publikum ist auch gar keine Frage. 70.000.
Going to
Du
a
warst
very
vorhin
worthy
ein
cause.
bisschen überwältigt, ne?
Ja, das finde ich großartig. Ich meine, wir haben ja genau vor 10 Jahren hier diese Allianz Arena eröffnet. Die ist jetzt glücklicherweise 10 Jahre immer ausgebucht gewesen bei den Spielen und ich finde es toll, dass zur Saisoneröffnung jetzt auch 70.000 gekommen sind. Das ist eine großartige Geste und
70,000
ein
fans
großer
here
Teil
inside
dieser
the Allianz
500.000
Arena today.
ist ja aus diesen
There were
aus diesen
20,000
Eintrittsgeldern
fans that
her
turned out
rausgekommen oder
in the center
hereingekommen
of
und
Munich to
dementsprechend
celebrate
ist
both the
jeder
men's and
Zuschauer hier
women's
ganz
side
einfach bei
winning
dieser Spende dann eben auch
the
beteiligt.
German
Das ist
Championships.
das Besondere an dieser Geschichte und was das Besondere ist an der Stiftung, schauen wir uns jetzt mal einen ganz kleinen filmischen Eindruck an.
Days like today, emotions do run high. Now we have a quick 1-minute promotional video. For CSR to see how this money is used to better the lives of children. So coming up shortly after this, the training session with Pep Guardiola and his squad. May have an interview as well that could get Bayern fans excited. We're handing over to Nicole around about 4 o'clock German time to talk to one of FC Bayern's biggest stars. After the training session, there'll be a penalty shootout. 7 lucky fans will get a chance to try and beat Manuel Neuer from the spot.
125 ganz spezielle Projekte, Dr. Nietzsche.
Shortly following that, there'll be an all-stars encounter between FC Bayern and Inter Milan. Some big names amongst the squads as well. Andreas Bremer will be playing a half for both sides. They're playing a full 90-minute match. Just reading through the squad list for Bayern. Names like Hans-Jörg Butt stand out, Daniel van Buiten, the Kovac brothers, Roy Mackay, Paulo Sergio, Michael Tarnat, Alexander Sickler, amongst others. There are also some big names in the Inter squad as well, Dino Baggio, Christian Chivu, Benito Carboni, Patrick Vieira, Javier Zanetti, Francesco Toldo, so it should be quite a game between the two all-star teams.
Der Profis des FC Bayern München, Trainer Pep Guardiola und die Assistenten bitten die Spieler zu einer Trainingseinheit. Ihr werdet genau sehen, wie der FC Bayern München auch in ganz normalen Tagen zwischen den Spielen jeweils sich fit hält, wie diese Mannschaft trainiert, um dann letztendlich auch so erfolgreich zu sein, wie es ist. Unser FC Bayern München. Ich habe euch vorher versprochen, dass wir nochmal Großmeister Lang zu Gesicht bekommen. Ich freue mich sehr. Auch Robin Schulz, der DJ schlechthin.
Now a quick musical collaboration between the two stars we've seen so far, Lang Lang and Robin Schulz.
England, obwohl sie erst 14 Jahre alt ist. Jasmine Thompson kennen wir alle auch natürlich aus den internationalen Charts. Sie alle sind heute hierher gekommen für euch, um zu sagen, jawohl, der FC Bayern feiert seine Saisoneröffnung, da sind wir dabei. Und wir werden diese 3, und das gab es noch nie, jetzt dann gleich erleben. Lang mit Robin Schulz und Jasmine Thompson mit einem
taken
ganz
apart
speziellen
as quickly
Match.
as possible.
Freut euch drauf, der FC Bayern macht's möglich. Gleich.
And then we'll get to the real business of what FC Bayern do best, and that is playing football. Now, you have to say, throwing a party is probably a close second. They certainly know how to put on a show, and that's what they have done so far here today.
Und während unsere Spieler also jetzt hingehen und abklatschen, die Kinder und Jugendlichen, auch ihre Begleiter, die in den Projekten der Stiftung Allianz für Kinder betreut werden und
So
auch
you can
arbeiten.
see on the edge of your
Die
screen,
jetzt
you could see
natürlich
there
glücklich sind,
for a
dass sie
second,
ihre
but there are the
Fußballer
players
einfach so nah sehen.
going round.
Ein schönes Bild. Während die Mannschaft
Quick
hier
high
abklatscht,
five,
also
maybe
jetzt,
a few
meine Damen und Herren,
Autographs as
großartig.
well with the CSR participants.
Das schafft auch nur der FC Bayern. Robin Schulz meets Lang Lang and special guest Jasmine Thompson.
My face above the water. My feet can't touch the ground, and it feels like I can see the sands on the horizon every time.
Music and bubbles, fantastic combination.
Wave after wave, wave after wave, so easy. And it feels like drowning, pulling against the street, pulling against the wave. Wave after wave, wave after wave, so easy. And it feels like drowning, pulling against the
fantastic musical collaboration between three very talented people. And now it is my pleasure to hand over to Nicole, who has an incredibly talented footballer sitting next to her.
Thank you, James. Hi, guys, and welcome to our FCB Day 1 Q&A live from the Allianz Arena. I'm joined by none other than Bayern legend Arjen Robben. Thank you so much for taking the time of being with us today.
You're welcome.
How does it feel to be back at the Allianz Arena, not only after the summer recess, but after quite a long injury now?
Well, I think it's always, I think it doesn't really matter when or after how long, but I think it's always good to be back in your own stadium with our own fans. I'm always happy, I'm always coming with a smile when I walk into the stadium.
Of course, we are happy too to have you back finally here in the arena, and not only the club, but also the fans. And they were really excited to get the opportunity to interview you today. We've been collecting questions on Facebook for the last couple of days. There were thousands. Like the response was enormous, as you can imagine. But we don't have the time to ask you all of them, so we made a little selection. Are you ready to go? Okay. Frank would like to know, what are your personal goals for this season?
I think my personal goals are actually always the same. I hope I can help the team this season. For me personally, I hope to stay fit again, but then not until March or April this time, but until the end. Just be at the same level as I was when I got my injury last season, and that way try to help the team and hopefully to win trophies.
Heiko wants to know, what would you like to do after your active career? That is hopefully still going to last for a long time, but is there any thoughts already of what you want to do once it's over?
I mean, not one particular thought that I say, okay, that's what I'm going to do, but I think you have to be also a little bit prepared. You cannot say after your career, after the last day, you say, okay, now it's finished, what are we going to do now? So I think it's good. I speak about it with my wife a lot, with the family, and I think there are some options, but I'm also looking forward, to just life after football, to be able to do different things that are not possible at the moment.
So that kind of sounds like Ingrid's question would get a no. Could you imagine coaching after your active career?
Yeah, well, maybe. I mean, football is in the blood. That's my life. But as I said before, I'm also looking forward to do different things, just away from football. But yeah, maybe also something with football. Maybe working with youth. That's always something that I really like. So we will see.
You need to pass on these skills of yours. You can't let them go to waste. Thomas Kwan would like to know, you learned Spanish at Real Madrid, you learned English at Chelsea, and German here at Bayern. Which one was the hardest language to learn?
Well, that's quite easy. That's the hardest was Spanish, because at school I already learned German and English, but Spanish I had to start at zero. And although it's a very beautiful language, I really was also eager to learn it, but it was a little bit more difficult because you have to start at the bottom and then try to improve.
Is there still some Spanish left in you?
Yeah, well, we have a lot of we have quite a big Spanish connection in the team, so I think I can still practice a little bit.
Do they make you practice? Do you speak Spanish at training?
I like it as well. It's a very nice language, and I like to speak it. It's good to be able to talk a few times in Spanish with my colleagues, with the coach, and in that way maybe try to improve a little bit.
Now you have to show off. Could you say hi to our Spanish-speaking fans?
Yeah, that's very easy. Hola. Just hola, that's hello to the fans. Yeah.
Okay, great. Christian Kaup from Germany would like to know, how do you manage to always come back stronger from your injuries? Because, as he puts it, you always seem to be a little better when you come back to the pitch after a long period of time often.
That's probably not a good sign, because then you would say try to get a new injury because you can get better again.
please don't.
But no, the only thing is just when I have like a little injury or something, then I always want to, I keep working hard, and I know that if you come back, and you're fit again, then you have to try to be, as soon as possible, you have to try to be at your best again, and you don't really get time to adapt, and that's why I always work hard in rehabilitation, and then when I'm back on the pitch, then straight away at a good level.
Momchil would like to know what inspired you to start playing football. You said you had it in the blood. Did that come with the years, or was there something that triggered your passion for
Well, I
football?
don't know. It's just something that is inside of you, I think. I was as a kid, I was always playing outside and just enjoying the game. But as a kid, I was not really like focused only on football. I was playing with my friends, doing different kind of stuff, different kind of sports. But in the end, I think football was something I liked the most. I did the most, and that's why I'm here today. Here.
What would you have become if you wouldn't have become a football player? It's a question Michelle said that.
Yeah, I think also something in sports, because I'm just like, I don't know, sports freak is maybe a little bit too much, but I like sports, and maybe something like a teacher, sports teacher, or I don't know, but definitely something, I think not just behind the desk, but more active.
Glad that destiny brought you here. Who is the funniest player on the team is a question we got from Hazim.
Wow, we've got a few funny guys. I think in general the atmosphere in the team is always very good. One who never stops talking is Thomas Müller. He likes a joke, and he likes speaking a lot, and so he's definitely one of them, yeah.
Who is your favorite football player is a question from Umut.
Favorite at the moment, or when I was growing up, I was always a big fan of Romario. At the time, he was also playing in Holland at PSV Eindhoven, so I was a big fan of him. And after, was not really somebody in particular. I was always as well the kind of guy that just liked to play himself and not to watch too many football on television.
Okay, then talking about you playing yourself, Santi wants to know who is the best goalkeeper you've had to play against? Who was the toughest to get across?
I think the one who's in my team at the moment, I think I've played a few times against him, but I also managed to score against him, but he's for me, he's the best, and what I said, I'm very happy that he's in our team, and that he's helping us, because I think Manuel is at the moment the best goalkeeper in the world.
Better to have him on your side then, huh? Rodrigo wants to know, what were your thoughts when you scored the goal against Dortmund in the Champions League final?
I've got the question. I've had to answer that one already quite a lot of times, but yeah, that was of course the best feeling ever. I think a lot goes through your mind, and it was just one big explosion of a lot of emotions, and I think that's something that's the best that can happen to you as a football player.
Anderson Rueda would like to know what goes through your head before playing a final like the one against Dortmund.
I'm a positive guy, and I think it's the most important thing. That is, you have to believe. You have to believe that you're going to win the final, because it's of course it's a big occasion always. It's special. These are like special. It's also like a little special feeling to play these kind of games. But at the time, you have to try to be as normal as possible and just focus on your game. And what I said, really believe in, that you're going to win it, and no other thoughts in your mind. Just go and full power, 100%, and just keep believing that you're going to win it.
Do you have some sort of strategy to
No,
calm yourself down?
No, not really. I think I'm just quite good in just concentrating. Just to focus on the game and know what is coming in the game, and just to prepare well. But I think maybe it sounds funny, but I think you shouldn't be doing too many different things, or just as normal. It's just a normal game. Of course, a final is always something special, but just prepare as you normally do, and nothing special. Just stay calm.
Okay, so there are the one finals and the ones that aren't ones, or the ones that you didn't even get to. Roy Valtierra wants to know which one was the happiest moment with Bayern, which I imagine could be a final here and there.
I think, the one in Wembley, of course. And I think the moment which was not so nice, I think, was the year before. I think losing the Champions League final here at home was already a disappointing season, because we got second in the league. We lost the cup final, and then in the end, we lost the Champions League final here at home in your own stadium. Yeah, that was the toughest one. Yeah.
What do you still want to achieve with Bayern? Asks Christoph Hammerschmidt.
Well, I think we've got our goals again this season. I would love to be in the Champions League final again with this team. I think we have a great squad. We have a lot of quality in the team. So I'm looking forward to attack again, even more in the Champions League, to try and reach the final again. And but on the other hand, I think Bundesliga, fourth time Bundesliga, 4 times just after another. There's no team in the history who did it, so that's also a very nice goal for the season.
We're here at the Allianz Arena. This is a very emblematic stadium for everybody who lives in Munich, everybody who's a Bayern fan, everybody who's of course a Bayern player. Which other stadium has given you the most memories that you've played in? Was it Wembley? Or?
Yeah, Wembley is certainly one of them, but I'm quite privileged that I've been at big clubs also before Bayern, at Madrid, Chelsea, and so sorry. Sorry. Thank you. I've been playing in a lot of nice stadiums, Barcelona, Madrid, also big ones in England, Manchester United. So there are these special stadiums, with a great atmosphere. So there are quite a few of them.
Do you ever get used to stepping out on the pitch here at the Allianz Arena? It's a question we got from Leticia.
No, it's always, for me, every time again when I go out here and play a game, doesn't really matter what kind of game. I'm always happy. I'm always happy to play here, and it's I think the best there is, just playing in your home stadium. That's very, very good. Very good.
You've played at plenty of clubs throughout Europe. Who would you call your biggest friend in the football world? Is there something you could point out?
I don't think it's just one biggest friend, but I've got I still have good contacts with also players who I've been playing with at other clubs, but also here at Bayern. That's also the nice thing about football. Sometimes you move and you go, and then you build up friendships in different parts of the world in Europe, and so I've got a few good friends because of football.
And it's great to keep them everywhere, right? If you can move around and have a friend in every place, it's like a girl in every harbor. Zeltzin wants to know, what kind of music do you listen to?
What kind of?
Music.
Well, all kind of music. Of course, before a game, like a little bit, music that keeps you going, makes you a little bit fit and fresh. But I'm not. I like a lot of music. Listening to also children music, of course, at home with my kids, my daughter dancing. So a lot.
Is it German or Dutch?
No,
children's
German,
music?
Dutch, English, everything.
That's great. Okay, last question. Eric Rojas is 14 years old, and it's his biggest dream to become a professional football player. What's your advice for him?
No, just keep going, keep playing, keep training, always trying to improve yourself. But I think most of all, that's the most important thing. Is you should not forget just to enjoy. If you like football, just enjoy it. And if you have the talent, then maybe one day we'll see each other.
We hope so. That's all we've got time for today. Thank you so much for joining us today and for taking the time to answer all these questions. We wish you a successful and most of all injury-free season this year. And thank you guys for tuning in. Stay tuned to our social media channels because we will keep you updated on everything this great club does to prepare for the upcoming season. Thank you so much. Back to you, James.
Thank you. Thanks. Thank you, bye.
Thank you, Nicole. Wonderful interview there with Arjen Robben. Of course, he will not be training today. He's currently taking a bit of a rest in a bid to be fully fit when the real games get underway. He said, I'm basically in very good shape, but I was out injured for a long time before the summer break. I have to be sensible and spread the burden. I'm working my way back gently. Once we get into the important games in the Super Cup, DFB Cup and the Bundesliga, I need to be properly fit. And coming from a man who has suffered plenty of injuries throughout his career, it cannot be more important than being fully fit when the campaign kicks off. Some suggesting he was rushed back a little towards the end of last season in a bid to get him involved in the Champions League semi-finals. Unfortunately, he then suffered a further injury setback. So the training session has started. You can see to the left of your screen there, going through the mandatory pre-training stretches. They've already done a little bit of a warm-up, jogging around the pitch. Already seen some skills on show as well, but for now the footballs are put to one side. This today, the official team presentation and the official season opener for Bayern ahead of the 2015-16 campaign. It also kicks off a rather, let's say, arduous pre-season for Bayern. Tomorrow they'll take part in the Telekom Cup in Mönchengladbach. They'll be taking on fellow Bavarian outfit FC Augsburg in one of two semi-finals. Borussia Mönchengladbach and Hamburger SV are the other two teams involved in the tournament. Of course, the winners and losers of the respective matches will either face off in a match for third place or in the final. And then on the 16th of July, Bayern head to China as part of the Audi Summer Tour 2015. There they have already lined up friendlies against Spanish side Valencia, Inter Milan from the Serie A, and Guangzhou Evergrande, the Chinese outfit. That's their final pre-season friendly before the real action does get underway with the DFL Super Cup on the 1st of August, taking on VfL Wolfsburg, the DFB Cup winners from last season. That game will be played in Wolfsburg at the Volkswagen Arena. Many believing that Wolfsburg will pose the biggest threat to Bayern's title defence. There's a sizable gap between the two last season at the top of the standings. Wolfsburg, like Bayern, boasting a very talented squad. And the squad currently on show here for the fans in Munich. Looks like we're going to have a few rondo sessions. The infamous training routines under Pep Guardiola. Two players in the middle, a circle of players around them. And essentially, it's one-touch passing, keep away. 20 passes without an interception is considered embarrassing in many circles amongst the Bayern professionals. It really is all part of the quick passing philosophy for Bayern under Pep Guardiola. Smiles and blame are apportioned in equal measure, it has to be said, in these sessions. Just moves the ball so quickly. Really is a key facet of Bayern's game. We've got 3 rondo sessions going on right now. We're watching the one down in the bottom corner down to my right. There's one in and around the center circle and one at the opposite end of the field. Players staying out of the sun for the time being, but trying to give every... What a nutmeg that was, sorry, just have to say. That's what we like to see every now and again. Javi Martinez putting a smile on everyone's face. Mehdi Benatia caught with his legs open. Almost as embarrassing as the players around the rim getting 20 passes in a row. Sometimes it gets a bit adventurous, a few improvised passes there. Here in this little circle of players, we have new signing Douglas Costa. One of the first challenges in joining a new team, especially for foreigners, to pick up the footballing language. He's only spent 1 day with his new teammates. That was yesterday, where he took part in his first ever training session as an FC Bayern München player. Let's be honest, German isn't necessarily the easiest language to pick up either. We're seeing a few nice touches from the Brazilian though. 24 years old, signed from Shakhtar Donetsk. Of course, a familiar face after Bayern faced off against Shakhtar in the UEFA Champions League last season. Discussions going on between the players in terms of who should be in the middle. Thiago quick to intercept that one there. He didn't want to stay in the middle too long, understandably so. Of course, we've already mentioned it, the big news today coming out of Bayern is that Bastian Schweinsteiger will no longer be a member of the FC Bayern München squad. Chief Executive Karl-Heinz Rummenigge made an appearance at a press conference earlier today that was aimed at introducing new signings Douglas Costa and Joshua Kimmich. Instead, it turned out that the greater focus was on the Fußballgott Bastian Schweinsteiger. He is the only player that when the players come out for a Bundesliga match at the Allianz Arena, when his name is announced by the stadium announcer, he is the only player who the fans chant Fußballgott to afterwards. And it will be very interesting to see next season who will take over that mantle. Lots of worthy candidates, it has to be said. Philipp Lahm, the captain, would be one. Thomas Müller, another. Manuel Neuer, I could see him being called a Fußballgott as well. Quite frankly, it's just the beauty of the Bayern squad. The amount of talent they have is ridiculous. But they really do appreciate these long-serving players. Bastian Schweinsteiger, he was at the club for 17 years. 500 appearances as a professional footballer for the Bavarian club, and he will be sorely missed. However, Karl-Heinz Rummenigge with very kind words, claiming that the door will always be open for Bastian to return at the end of his career. should he want to seek out a second career in football, of course, referring to taking up maybe a coaching role of some sort. Who knows, they were a dynamic duo on the pitch, but Philipp Lahm, Bastian Schweinsteiger, that would be some training team to have on the sidelines if you're a Bayern Munich player. Rummenigge did also make it clear that this was Bastian Schweinsteiger's wish. It did look like maybe next season first team opportunities may not come around as often for him, with a packed out and very talented midfield. Of course, 30 years of age, soon to turn 31. Not many years left in what has been a storied career for the World Cup winner. Multiple Bundesliga titles, multiple DFB Cup wins to his name as well. But he wants to go test himself in the Premier League with Manchester United. Set to sign a 3-year contract with the Red Devils. Rummenigge pointing out that Schweinsteiger, in a very emotional but serious conversation, as he called it, had asked for his wish to leave to be respected, or it wasn't really his wish to leave, let's be honest. He is a legend of this club, but it was really his wish to seek out pastures new, to experience something new, to face a new challenge, to find new motivation. He really has won it all with Bayern München. And now the challenge will be to recreate that success with Manchester United, of course, under former FC Bayern head coach Louis van Gaal. But if I'm being very honest, I never thought I'd see the day where Bastian Schweinsteiger exited a stadium tunnel without a Bayern Munich shirt on. It comes as a shock. The fans, when it was talked about earlier, Karl-Heinz Rummenigge was out on the stage. He confirmed to the fans here in the stadium that Schweinsteiger was indeed leaving. And immediately the catcalls, the whistles rang out around the Allianz Arena. They did not want to see him leave, but Karl-Heinz Rummenigge did request that the fans respected Schweinsteiger's wish and respected the decision for Bayern to honour that wish to go somewhere else. The chief executive also pointing out that there are a few other options in midfield, and well, that's the least you can say about it. Bayern, a star-studded squad at their disposal. But when you look at their midfield options, especially in the centre, Thiago, a player who has been blighted by injury, but really is such a prestigious talent when he is fit. He made a real impact when he first joined Bayern. Regular setbacks. 3 times he suffered knee ligament damage. But every time he came back fit, he made an impact. And is just such a creative dynamo in the centre of the park that Bayern will be really hoping that he can stay fit for the majority of the coming campaign. The number 6, of course, there's Javi Martinez, his compatriot as well. Seen potentially also as an option for Pep Guardiola in Bayern's back line, whether that be a 3-man or a 4-man. Of course, he also featured in the centre-back role for Athletic Bilbao in La Liga before he signed for Bayern in what was a record-breaking fee at the time. And then you've got the veteran Xabi Alonso, now the number 14, his more accustomed number. With Pizarro leaving the club, he was able to switch numbers from number 3 to number 14. Again, his creativity, or his vision, I think, is probably his best asset. Loves to get into deep-lying positions and ping the ball left, right, centre. And more often than not, it finds its target in emphatic fashion. He was exceptional in the first half of last season. Dropped off a little bit in the second half. I think even he'll admit that. Very ambitious player. High expectations of himself as well. But the first year at a new club, especially when the deal was done with the season already underway, he really acquitted himself as a midfielder of high caliber. Mario Götze can also be considered a central option because we saw a lot of last season, as flexible as the system was, more often than not it tended to drift into a 4-1-4-1 system. Xabi Alonso, Philipp Lahm, often the players that would play that deep-lying pivot role between the back line and midfield. Schweinsteiger then, when he was played, tended to play in a more advanced role. So Mario Götze has to be considered a candidate there. Of course, I just mentioned Philipp Lahm, the captain, shifted from right back into central midfield by Pep Guardiola. Considered by many to be one of the best right backs of his generation, if not the best right back. Of course, Barcelona fans will throw Dani Alves' name into the hat. But when it comes to consistency and quality, Philipp Lahm was and still is an exceptional talent, but has proven that he can do just as good a job in central midfield, protecting the back line. Of course, as the captain, it also gives him the opportunity to be in a position that allows him to be more vocal from the centre of the park, constantly in communication with his teammates. David Alaba, I mentioned during the team presentation when he came out, many looking at him as a potential successor to Bastian Schweinsteiger in central midfield. Again, another one of Pep Guardiola's strokes of genius, so to say, moving Alaba from left back into central midfield. But that's where Alaba wants to play. It's where his preferred position is. He's always said that. He was happy to fill in at left back. Louis van Gaal was the first to spot his talents as a left back and claimed he would go on to become one of the best left backs in the world. And let's be honest, when he plays there, he is. But with Juan Bernat on board, it allowed David Alaba to shift into the centre of the park. Scored some sublime free kicks as well last season, it has to be said. Hard to pick out the best of the bunch. Stuttgart sticks out in my mind. But with Schweinsteiger gone, Alaba will likely get more minutes in the centre of the park. Of course, he picked up a rather nasty injury towards the back end of last season as well. Has worked hard over the summer to regain full fitness. Even turned down a call-up to the Austrian national team in order to make sure he was fully fit and raring to go for the upcoming Bundesliga campaign. Of course, it's also where he plays for Austria, is in the centre of the park, so it's not a position he's not accustomed to at all. Sebastian Rode, again, I mentioned when he came out for the team presentation, played such a pivotal role last season because with all the injuries that Bayern suffered, Rode was the ever-reliable backup. Featured at right back, featured at right midfield, featured in the centre of the park, but he is a defensive midfielder by trade. Signed from Frankfurt on a free transfer last season. And I think even he'll admit it, he would not have expected to have featured as often as he did. But he seized the opportunity with aplomb and was rightly received today with a very warm reception from the Bayern fans. And then, of course, you've got the likes of Pierre-Emil Højbjerg returning from loan. Spent last season, or the second half of last season, with FC Augsburg. Became a key first-team regular for Augsburg as they secured Europa League football for the first time in the club's history. Fans getting excited because it looks like we may have a few shooting drills. I'm trying to work it out. It may be some passing drills first. We've still got a rondo going on down here to my right, to my left. Something is certainly being set up. The players being split into different groups. And then one player to mention as well in this central midfield discussion, Joshua Kimmich, signed from Stuttgart in the summer, He was with RB Leipzig in the second division. Again, became a very key member of their first team last season. But Stuttgart actually reserved the right to have him as their own player. And so in order for Bayern to buy Kimmich, Stuttgart had to buy Kimmich back from Leipzig so that Bayern could then complete the transfer. It's a bit of a confusing one, I know, but I hope that explained it all. And then last but not least, the man who also got a couple of extra minutes last season, Gianluca Gaudino. Lots of hype about this youngster, and rightly so. 17 years of age, incredibly talented, very composed on the ball. Featured in a couple of games at the beginning of the season. Started in the DFL Super Cup against Dortmund. Started on match day 1 against VfL Wolfsburg as well. Sven Ulreich there, the new signing from Stuttgart. Was the number 1 for the Swabian outfit. So what we've got at one end of the pitch is some crossing drills. Couple of passes played, ball out to the wing. 4 players bursting into the box, trying to get on the end of the delivery. Meanwhile, down to my right, the rondo continues with the likes of Højbjerg, Lewandowski, Götze, Juan Bernat, Boateng, Benatia, Manuel Neuer. Talking earlier about the summer schedule for Bayern. The Audi Cup from the 4th to the 5th of August will be held here in the Allianz Arena. That follows the Super Cup against Wolfsburg. Then they kick off their DFB Cup campaign, looking to reclaim that title after being knocked out in the semi-finals last season by Dortmund, who went on to lose the final against Wolfsburg. They'll be taking on FC Nürtingen on the 9th of August. And then the 14th of August, that's the day, if we're really being honest, that we're all waiting for. The start of the 53rd Bundesliga campaign. And Bayern kick things off with a humdinger of a home encounter, let's say, against Hamburger SV, 2 clubs steeped in tradition. Of course, based on recent seasons, Hamburg don't necessarily provide the stiffest opposition, let's say, for Bayern. But these are 2 clubs that, as I mentioned, are steeped in tradition. They refer to it as the North-South Derby here in Germany. Hamburg, the only club to have featured in every season of the Bundesliga. Bayern, the club to have won the Bundesliga title more often than any other. And a fantastic way to kick off the Bundesliga season. They'll then be away from home against Hoffenheim on match day 2 before returning back to the Allianz Arena for back-to-back games against Bayer Leverkusen and FC Augsburg. Match day 5 then, they're away from home against newly promoted Darmstadt, but the other big games to look out for, really, match day 6, they're at home to Wolfsburg. Match day 8, they're at home to Borussia Dortmund. And then away from home on match day 13 against Schalke. Match day 15 away from home against Borussia Mönchengladbach. And then, of course, the reverse fixtures on the flip side of the winter break. Taking on Wolfsburg on match day 23. Dortmund away from home on match day 25. Schalke at home on match day 30. Match day 32, they'll be taking on Borussia Mönchengladbach in the Allianz Arena. And then the final game of the season on home soil against Hannover 96. Bayern will admittedly have hoped they've wrapped up the Bundesliga title by then, but another chance to step in front of their fans with the title and present it to them, as they did last season in the final home game of the season against Mainz. Thomas Muller there. Pep Guardiola referring to him during the week as having the best nose for goal in world football. Known as the Raumdeuter here in Germany, which literally translated means space invader. And it is just something he does with exceptional quality. The ability to lose his man, find a pocket of space and exploit it to the maximum. Pep Guardiola, always involved, always tinkering, always chatting to his players, teaching, letting them learn, imparting his wisdom on them. Is one of the reasons he is considered one of the greatest head coaches in the world. He's got 1 year left on his contract, Pep Guardiola, and should it be his last, it's not guaranteed that it will be his last. Should it be his last, he will want to end on a high note. Whether that be with the Bundesliga, the double, the domestic double with the DFB Cup, or maybe even the historic treble achieved for the first time under Jupp Heynckes, his predecessor. Sven Ulreich being warmed up in goal now. The cross come in from David Alaba. No one managed to get on the end of it actually, and then we switched back to the rondo session, going down to my right. Just a key training drill, so to say. Encouraging quick passing, pressing, constant movement from the two players in the middle. So helps players hone their first touch as well. See far side, some of the fans that were sitting in the blazing heat under the Bavarian sun have maybe found more accommodating vantage points. The Allianz Arena, there's still a bit of a buzz around it. They're enjoying watching their stars in action. Not often you get to see them inside their own stadium. Douglas Costa, one of the players down to my left, taking part in the crossing drills. Some good deliveries with his left foot coming already. And that really is where they, I think, expect him to play at the start of the season. Douglas Costa down on this left wing. Frank Ribery, as I mentioned earlier, is going to miss the start of the season through injury. Costa brought in from Shakhtar Donetsk to help provide cover for both Ribery and Arjen Robben, a very versatile winger who can play on either flank. He was in action with Brazil in the Copa America. And he's certainly got a bit about him, the 24-year-old. Lovely pass there from Xabi Alonso. That is really what he does to perfection more often than not. Talking about new signings, it was interesting to hear Karl-Heinz Rummenigge, the chief executive, talking about the fact that their squad planning wasn't done just yet. You look at this squad and you really wonder, where can they strengthen, where can they make prudent signings that would benefit the squad. They've had a lot of players come back from loan spells, Højbjerg, Kirchhoff, Julian Green amongst them. They've got players that missed the majority of last season through injury, the likes of Javi Martinez, Thiago, that they'll be able to rely on a more regular basis in the coming campaign. They've got 4 goalkeepers that were all presented today. Pepe Reina, of course, has left the club, heading back to Napoli. silky skills on show, it has to be said. Well, if you didn't see it there, it was off camera, but the ball that Juan Bernat just lumped into the air ended up knocking a TV presenter on the sidelines on the head. And now it looks like we're going to switch ends of the field. Goalkeeper's having a quick jog down. Players kicking a few balls towards goal. Some of them ending up in the net, some not. Waiting to see the first person that can clip the crossbar from long distance. Douglas Costa and Thiago. You can see just off the right of your screen, the number 11 now running to the far side of the pitch onto that left wing. Just from the few interactions I've seen between Thiago and Costa, they seem to have struck up an immediate rapport, which is always good news. And so what we've got the team split into two groups. We've got the players that have been on international duty, barring Douglas Costa, and I think that may just be because they want Douglas Costa on show. But the players that were on international duty and returned to the club a little later than others are going through what I would call a light training session. They were the ones doing the rondo session down to my right a few moments ago. They're now just jogging around the other half of the pitch, light jogging session underway. And the other players that weren't in action for their national teams, they're the ones currently being put through their paces with this crossing drill, now down the other end. Thomas Müller, and of course given a break by the national team head coach Joachim Löw. It's a good save there. Javi Martinez almost snapping up the rebound. Not exactly known for his goal-scoring prowess, Javi Martinez, but he did score potentially one of the most important goals in recent seasons, the late equaliser against Chelsea in the UEFA Super Cup. And there again we see maybe his defensive instincts taking over in front of goal more so than his goal-scoring ones. And here is Douglas Costa, drilled delivery from him, makes his way to the back post and no one able to put it in the back of the net. I think what we're also going to see, they are rolling out two sets of goals that were at either end of the pitch. Fast year there. The ball finally finding the back of the net. But we're going to see a mini, I would imagine, 11-on-11 game that'll be played pretty much on half the pitch, so to say, either side of the halfway line. One goal's already been set up. I would assume the other will be set up soon after this crossing drill is completed. Again, Douglas Costa with the delivery. Improvised effort from Thiago, unable to find the target. Guardiola blows the whistle. It's always interesting to wonder exactly what runs through Pep Guardiola's mind when he's going through a training session like this. He is one of the great footballing brains, it has to be said. One of the great innovators of the game. Of course, did so with Barcelona, came to Bayern 2 seasons ago. Tried to do the same thing. The key thing with Bayern is he has tried to mesh his own philosophy with that of Bayern. He's tried to play to their strengths. Possession-based football certainly is their strength. More often than not, Bayern dominate matches when it comes to possession, touches, passes. Or Xabi Alonso setting a Bundesliga record for the most touches in a single game against Cologne. That record previously held by Thiago Alcantara. Thiago notched up 177, and if my memory serves me right, Xabi Alonso got to 191, which is just an extraordinary figure. Especially when you consider the fact that in the statistics world nowadays, when it comes to football, one touch doesn't necessarily mean one touch on paper, if you know what I mean. If a player gets the ball to feet and then maybe takes another touch to move it on, that is considered one touch. So quite frankly, the 191 that Xabi Alonso notched up, let's be honest, is probably an even greater number. I mean, that is it there. Effortless control of the game and of the ball really sets Bayern apart in the Bundesliga. It's maybe in the Champions League that Pep Guardiola has a point still to prove with Bayern. And again, I point out a fully fit squad at his disposal, and you really would back him to do just that. Good header there from Julian Green, beating Tom Starker. And the smaller players in Bayern's squad. Now the goals are flowing freely. Thomas Müller, the latest to find the back of the net. Douglas Costa can get his head on this, but it goes to the front post, so not a chance for the Brazilian. As I mentioned earlier, Bayern taking a trip to China. That as part of their pre-season warm-up, so to say. Karl-Heinz Rummenigge, the chief executive, said, "We're obviously not going there on vacation. We have to find a middle way between FC Bayern's marketing interests and our pre-season preparations. The schedule from the start of the trip through to our return has been planned in such a way that I would consider the stress levels to be within normal limits. We last went to China 3 years ago and won the treble straight afterwards, so maybe it's a good omen." That really would be, let's say, a coincidence, but a happy coincidence for FC Bayern. And that is it. They will be mixing up pre-season training sessions, a few PR events and commitments. China is such a huge market for a club the size of Bayern. Consider the country's population, and even if half of the population buy FC Bayern merchandise, then you're making quite a pretty penny, it has to be said. Players getting a bit of water to rehydrate in the summer heat here in southern Bavaria. I don't think Bayern really could have envisaged more ideal conditions for today's official season opener and the team presentation. both goals set up in the middle of the pitch. Cones around the edge, outlining the field of play. Kimmich all smiles. Arguably seen as maybe the player leading the charge from FC Bayern's new guard. Of course, Schweinsteiger is leaving the club, joining Manchester United. Philipp Lahm, Xabi Alonso getting on in age. They've got some very exciting young talents in midfield. Kimmich and Höberg, who were just sitting alongside him, certainly two of them. Kimmich, of course, was in action with the German under-21s team. Managed to stave off the challenge from the likes of Bundesliga regulars Maximilian Arnold, Moritz Leitner, to be a regular member of the starting lineup under Horst Hrubesch. Unfortunately, they did fall short of winning the tournament, getting knocked out in the semi-finals by Portugal, who went on to lose the final to Sweden. Yeah, Emil Højbjerg, meanwhile, was involved with the Danish under-21s, a key figure for them in the centre of the park. They too fell short at the semi-final stage, losing to eventual winner Sweden. See the players being put through their paces in two teams. Key here is that Pep Guardiola wants to see build-up play more so than goals scored. I'm sure there'll be a few on show for the fans here at the Allianz Arena. They maybe ran out of blue bibs because Douglas Costa, the new signing, he's in a green one. Shot at goal from Rafinha. Slick passing is really the name of the game. Often you're going to see crosses put in, it has to be said. Douglas Costa now getting a touch of the ball. Martinez could arguably play a very important role for Bayern next season. As I mentioned earlier, such a versatile player, capable of playing in a back line or as a holding midfielder. Of course, he wasn't the only one that received praise during the treble-winning season, but a lot of people singling Martinez out as a new signing that made a real impact in the middle of the park for Bayern. He had that outstanding performance in the DFB Cup final against Dortmund, where he played as a quasi-libero. Kick back to the olden days of German football. The role made famous by Franz Beckenbauer, of course, a club legend here at Bayern. And it really will be interesting to see Martinez, if he stays fit, which role will he be used in? Guardiola getting in the way now as well. Perhaps be one of Pep Guardiola's greatest challenges over the coming months, or maybe coming weeks, I should say, is dealing with the loss of Bastian Schweinsteiger. 17 years at the club, 20 titles won. That is just an exceptional record and trophy cabinet. I mean, his winners' medal collection could probably fill a whole wall. Guardiola talking to FCB.TV earlier this week, he said this is a good spell with very little stress. That may have changed in light of Schweinsteiger's departure. He says, we've made a very good start and the players are training very well. That's of course the players that weren't involved in an international duty. He then also shared a few thoughts on new signing Douglas Costa. He said, we needed a player with quality in one-on-one situations. That really was what Bayern lacked towards the back end of last season when both Ribery and Arjen Robben were out injured, was someone that could make a defender think twice about his decisions and ultimately the decisions the player himself was going to make. Costa has of course been touted as one of those players that will be willing to put a man on the back foot to try and beat his marker with the ball at his feet. He said, Guardiola said of Costa, he's young but he's played in the Champions League in recent years and he's in the Brazil team these days. We are all convinced by his qualities. And really now it's all about Douglas Costa convincing the FC Bayern fans of his qualities as well. So far today, I have to say, I've been keeping a close eye on Costa more so than any other player, and you see what Pep Guardiola is talking about. It will take time to immerse himself in this team, but in terms of his skill level, his in one-on-one situations as well as off the ball, his movement, his understanding of the game certainly, and again, take this with a pinch of salt. I've only seen him for less than an hour so far today, but he looks to be a very astute signing. I think Bayern fans can be very excited. I mean, if you rewind the clocks to about 10 years ago, it was commonplace for Bundesliga clubs to buy Brazilian players. They kind of dipped off after German clubs started bringing their scouts out of Brazil, because what we witnessed in the Bundesliga, that it really was a lot of the time a very hit and miss situation as to whether a player that was being bought for a lot of money was worth it. We've already had 2 Brazilians join the Bundesliga this summer, Douglas Costa being one of them, Junior Caissara joining Schalke as well in this summer transfer window. But the difference being that they haven't come directly from Brazil. They have immersed themselves in European countries. Douglas Costa, of course, in the Ukraine, allows him to acclimatize to the weather conditions, for instance. It can be a shock for players coming from such warmer climes to then come to Germany, and all of a sudden you're playing potentially in sub-zero temperatures during the winter. Douglas Costa will certainly be well accustomed to that now, it has to be said. And so it really is a case of letting them prove themselves elsewhere before bringing them on board. Costa, the perfect example of that. He may not be the only big name signing to join Bayern. Heinz Rummenigge saying, we've not completed our squad planning. As everyone knows, the transfer window is open until the 31st of August, and I think we'd be unwise to declare our squad planning complete on the 9th of July. That was the day he was talking 2 days ago. He said not much has happened internationally up to now. I think there'll still be a change or two at FC Bayern, so all is not done and dusted when it comes to Bayern's transfer activity. I guess the question also now remains, with Schweinsteiger leaving, will that maybe force Bayern's hand to make a big name signing? They've been linked with several players. Antoine Griezmann of Atletico Madrid, Angel Di Maria of Man United. There were talks at one point, or rumours I should say, of a potential swap deal with Manchester United for Schweinsteiger and Di Maria, but from my personal opinion it didn't make any sense, and it obviously didn't make sense for Man United or Bayern either. But the names and the players that Bayern are continuously linked with suggest that they may be looking for even more reinforcements out wide. Of course, we talked about their central midfield options earlier today. But when you look out wide, yes, they've got Robben, yes, they've got Ribéry, a fantastic duo of world-class quality that, when they are on form, can almost, and I say almost, single-handedly beat any team in the world. On top of that now, you've got Douglas Costa, who's come in from Shakhtar. You've maybe got the likes of Sinan Kurt, a very prodigious talent, a German talent signed from Borussia Mönchengladbach Youth Academy. He made his intentions very clear. He was desperate to come to Bayern. He wanted to come to a big club and win trophies and try and make a breakthrough here. And you never know, you know, injury here and injury there, and Sinan Kurt may be getting the luck of the draw in a similar fashion to what Sebastian Rohde experienced, or Mitchell Weiser last season is another great example. He's now moved on to Hertha Berlin, his contract running out at Bayern, but he put in some really good performances down the right wing. Again, was one of those players that was considered an incredible German talent when he first joined from Kaiserslautern. Never really made the breakthrough, was always on the fringes. You know, would be in matchday squads but not come off the bench. And then last season, arguably made his breakthrough, and it earned him a new deal with another club. Hertha, you know, not quite an FC Bayern München in terms of stature or title-winning ability, but still a very big club in the capital of Germany. A great market for him to show off his talent. Lovely play there, Sebastian Rohde putting the ball in the back of the net. But then outside of that, you really don't have many options on the wing for Bayern. You know, Mario Götze can play on the wing, Thomas Müller can play on the wing, but it's not where their strengths lie. It's not where they do their best work. You want to see Mario Götze in a central position, trying to pick the lock of a opposition back line, you know, using intricate passes, bit of improvised movement. And Thomas Müller, well, as I said earlier, Pep Guardiola said he's got the best nose for goal in world football. And why would you then want to waste his talents on the wing? And of course, he can do a fantastic job there. He's an incredible workhorse, but it's not quite to the same effect. And that's why I think if we are going to see one or two new faces still to come in this transfer window, I reckon we may see a winger or two brought in. Of course, one name I didn't even mention in this discussion, Julian Green, back from Hamburg. Again, capable of playing on the wing. He did so with America in the World Cup, impressed everyone, came off the bench, scored an important goal against Belgium. You know, and again, he's a player that is considered to have great potential by Bayern. Just right now, the squad is so star-studded that it's almost impossible for a player to make the breakthrough without another player getting injured. Julian Green would have to do something extraordinary on the training pitch to convince the powers that be that he deserves a starting spot over Arjen Robben or Frank Ribery on a daily basis, or weekly basis. Of course, he'll get his chances here and there. You know, the DFB Cup, first round, you're likely to see him feature in those. The pre-season friendlies, a chance to impress. And that was what Mitchell Weiser did last season during the winter break, featured regularly in the mid-season friendly matches that they set up. They travelled to Qatar, and he put on an impressive performance in both friendlies. And all of a sudden, he got considered a reliable option for Bayern to make use of should injuries permit other players from featuring. And he took the chance and seized it with both hands. And as I said, now he's at Hertha Berlin with a full-time contract and likely to be knocking on the door of a first-team place with them. And that really is what you are looking for these young players to do when the chance presents itself to take it. I mean, Matthias Sammer himself has said that they have a fantastic squad. He's talked at length on Bayern's official website. He too gave his thoughts on Douglas Costa, saying he's capable of developing and growing. We've been following him for a long time, and that really is it. It's this meticulous nature of transfers nowadays that clubs have to watch players for an extended period of time to figure out, are they maybe a one-hit wonder one season, or can they consistently produce top-level performances that would make you believe that they're worthy of being in Bayern's squad. And the competition for places is fierce, to say the least. But you've got to have someone that is going to thrive in that environment, that is going to look at having competition for places as extra motivation, added motivation to raise your game. And Douglas Costa, of course, seems to be one of those players that Bayern believe with his versatility, can do just that. And Sam also talked about the squad for the new season, talking about the fact that they've been reviewing the team with strategic thoughts in mind. We have a very, very good and healthy blend in terms of quality, but also the age structure. There is a fantastic mix, it has to be said, of veterans and young players, and the young players are going to be feeding off the veterans, and the veterans, let's be honest, may have a bit more energy in their legs just because these young players are knocking on the door. And it is this constant synergy between, or that happens within a club and a squad, that allows Bayern to continually thrive at the highest level. You know, even Zlatan Ibrahimovic, my goodness, is talking about the fact that Bayern are one of the best 5 teams in the world right now. He said he would consider a move to Bayern if they were interested. That would be the transfer of the summer, there's no doubt about it. I mean, it may not work while Pep Guardiola's still at the club, but that's another topic. Sam, also the sporting director, talking about Thiago and Javi Martinez, saying the most important thing for them is to stay healthy. It's what I've been saying all day, every time I've mentioned them. I think every training session will do them good and give them confidence they need to exploit their full potential again. We have to try and manage this smartly and well, but we're delighted to have them back, and I think Bayern fans will agree with that. They are 2 impressive, very impressive players. Of course, Javi Martinez, a World Cup winner with Spain back in 2010. Thiago missed out on the World Cup last summer through injury. Fans really enjoying themselves here today. It has been a fantastic day out. As I said, this is what really sets Bayern apart at times, is this family-friendly environment. It extra special. We've got a couple of the players down by the dugout signing some autographs, scarves, shirts, pieces of paper being thrown down there. You never know whether they're all actually going to get signed or not, but fans doing their best to try and catch the attention of their favourite players. Now the warm down taking place in the centre of the pitch. A few last stretches. Pep Guardiola seems to be talking to his players as well. And then we see Robert Lewandowski signing some articles of clothing. Of course, as I mentioned, following this, 7 lucky fans are going to have a chance to take on the world's best goalkeeper, Manuel Neuer, from the spot. A special hashtag on Twitter that the fans could use here in the stadium to try and win the chance to take on Manuel Neuer from the spot. A few bragging rights to your friends around the world, or just down at your local bar to say, I scored a goal or a penalty against Manuel Neuer. I remember watching it take place last year, and I think if there were 7 penalties last year, I think only one of them found the back of the net. Some of them were, I can't even, you know, cover it in sugar. Some of the penalty shots were atrocious, and you can see why some people just aren't professional footballers. Hopefully we'll have a better showing this year. I remember one man even took off his shoes to take a shot against Neuer. Didn't work out for him, I have to say. Came off the sole of his foot. And then after that, there's a chance the FC Bayern women's team will come out to receive a warm reception from the Allianz Arena crowd. A couple of short interviews potentially as well. And then after that, the all-star match against Inter Milan. Read off some of the names earlier today, just to go through them again. And Bayern legends in action. Andreas Bremer, Hans-Jo Butt, Daniel van Buiten, Nico Kovac, Robert Kovac, Roy Mackay, Christian Nerlinger, Paulo Sergio, Michael Tarnat, Alexander Zickler, just a few of the names on the list in front of me. For Inter Milan, you've got the likes of Dino Baggio, Benito Carboni, Christian Chivu, Patrick Vieira going to be involved as well, Francesco Toldo, Cristiano Zanetti and Javier Zanetti, who, like many Bayern players, actually, goes down as an Inter Milan legend just for the loyalty he showed the club, the longevity of his career. Now the players giving the fans a round of applause. It's the end of team training for today at the Allianz Arena. One man who's going to stay out on the pitch, Manuel Neuer. Stadium announcer Stefan Lehmann saying thank you to the team. Talking about the pre-season trip to China. The business really gets underway at that point. Pre-season preparation starts in earnest. Signatures being done by Robert Lewandowski before he's the last player to trundle into the tunnel. Of course, time for a photo as well with a fan. Quick wave and he's off down the tunnel. Now, if I'm right, if you look to the right of your screen, you'll see some fans coming onto the pitch. I believe they may well be the candidates to try and get the better of Manuel Neuer from the penalty spot. Although I have to say, Manuel Neuer's disappeared for now, so maybe he's just gone into the tunnel, gone into the changing rooms to give himself a pre-penalty shootout pep talk. And yes, indeed, Stefan Lehmann, the stadium announcer there, saying that the penalty shootout is going to take place. I have to say, I jokingly mocked some of the penalties from last season, but I do not know what I'd be like if I had to go up against Manuel Neuer from the spot. I think I would second, third, fourth guess myself as to which way I was going to put the ball against the world's best number one for club and country, a world-class custodian. Who right now is unrivaled in world football. Thibaut Courtois may have something to say about that. Gianluigi Buffon as well would maybe consider the fact that he too can be considered one of the best goalkeepers in the world, but for me personally, there is none better than Manuel Neuer. He is exceptional. He's also revolutionized the goalkeeping role, let's be honest. I mean, all the fanfare about the sweeper-keeper sensation that he was during the World Cup was absolutely sensational, but it's what we see on a weekly basis for Bayern. The fact that he does act as a sweeper, the last line of defense, of course he is because he's the goalkeeper, but the fact is, with Bayern playing such a high line, those long balls over the top from opposition teams, sometimes they catch out the back line. Rarely do they catch out Manuel Neuer, who can regularly be seen herring off his line, sometimes getting his foot on the ball, sometimes heading the ball. We've seen diving headers. We've seen him control the ball and then do a back heel trick to beat Tobias Werner. That took place against FC Augsburg last season, and he really is just a fantastic, fantastic goalkeeper. He also broke Oliver Kahn's records for most clean sheets kept in a single season. In 2014-15, he kept 19 clean sheets out of 34. That is incredible. But there he is, Manuel Neuer. Oh, that's why I couldn't spot him. He's wearing a red shirt now instead of his bright blue goalkeeping kit, but I guess we'll deal with that. Maybe he doesn't want to get his new kit too messy just yet. We've got a mixture of young and old. Fans ready to try and get the better of Manuel Neuer from, as they say here in Germany, 11 meters. I don't know whether you just caught that on the microphone, but I've got a young fan behind me screaming, "Manuel Neuer, can you hear me?" Unfortunately, not quite sure he can, youngster. So the penalty shootout is about to get underway. Quick greeting to the fans behind the goal. And it looks like the first fan is ready to step up and try and beat Manuel Neuer. Is he wearing flip-flops? I think he's wearing flip-flops. Makes it all the more exciting, I have to be honest. Yep, he is in flip-flops. Stefan Lehmann also having a bit of a chuckle about it as well. Fantastic. I'm sorry, but that would give you even more bragging rights to say, I beat Manuel Neuer from the penalty spot in flip-flops. You can't really blame him for wearing flip-flops today. It's been incredibly warm here in Munich. I think he's taken the flip-flops off though. Let's see what he does. Oh, he puts in the wrong way. Lovely penalty. What confidence. Took it right-footed. Barefooted as well. Manuel Neuer committed to his right and he sent him the wrong way. Fantastic stuff. What a way to kick this off. I said last year I only remember one going in, so that could be the only one we see go in, but I don't know. I have a good feeling about this crop of fans. Don't think I'm quite confident enough to go 7 out of 7, but it looks like we've got a left-footed fan now going to step up. Oh, he went for power over placement and put it wide of the post. Oh, he'll be kicking himself. Although in fairness, I think I'd go for power over placement against Manuel Neuer as well. And now we've got our first female participant. Oh. And she's pregnant. This will be something. I think Manuel Neuer should just give... Oh, he should have given that to her. Should have given that to her. She could have told her baby when it was born that you scored a penalty against Manuel Neuer. I know it doesn't have much to do with it, but that would have been something. So 1 out of 3 penalties has been converted by this group of fans. Right footer stepping up. Oh, a simple penalty straight down the middle. And Stefan Lehmann makes a joke. He said that was a back pass, Thomas. And it was rather, you have to admit. So, penalty taker number 5. Oh, he's got the run up. Oh, he's put it low with the fist pump afterwards as well. He's loving that. Now, we're going to have a fan that was found by local radio station Bayern 3. I would imagine this is a competition winner of some sort. In a Dirndl, love it. Traditional female dress. Oh, with the toe poke. And again, I think Manuel Neuer should have given it to her, but we can forgive him for that. He doesn't like letting goals go in past him, so even in a friendly penalty shootout like this. Oh, now a fan from South Africa. That's quite a special moment for him. Ron Henry. Oh, what a penalty that is. from the youngster, dear me. Right in the bottom corner. So we have 3 goal scorers out of the, I think it was 8 in the end. I thought it was 7. Fantastic, and they get a goalkeeping kit for their efforts. Nice little prize to go on top of the bragging rights of saying that I managed to beat Manuel Neuer from the penalty spot. All smiles, a quick photo.
Manuel aus Südafrika extra gekommen, hat mitgemacht bei unserem Hashtag Beat Neuer. Coole Nummer.
That was the hashtag. Hashtag Beat Neuer. 3 of the 8 managed to do so.
So, und jetzt darf ich euch auch verraten, ganz kurze Frage. Wir haben hier mit speziellen Bällen geschossen und wir konnten eure Schussgeschwindigkeit messen. Und die Frage ist,
and Stefan Lehmann now announcing the fact that they recorded how fast these shots were. And so he gets an Adidas Smart Ball for his efforts as well. Adidas, of course, the kit sponsors for FC Bayern. Three lucky fans able to go and tell all their friends about that time. That time at Bayern's official team presentation 2015 that they managed to put the ball into the back of the net with Manuel Neuer in between the sticks. So what you can't see on your screen right now, we've got the all-star teams from Bayern and Inter Milan warming up right now, getting ready for their friendly kickabout. Bit of a nostalgic feel now. There is Daniel van Buiten. Also only left the club a season ago, but still highly regarded amongst the Bayern faithful. So the All-Star match is going to kick off in about 5 minutes' time, if my schedule's to be believed. We are seeing the FC Bayern women's team come out, the German champions from last season, and the rain has indeed started falling here. The weather was so good earlier today, and now it starts to absolutely pour it down. One of the women using the Meisterschale as cover from the rain. Quick interview, and then after this the All-Star game will take place. That'll be the conclusion of what has been a fantastic day here in the Allianz Arena. It's the official start of the season for FC Bayern München. We've seen the team presented, we've seen a live training session, we've seen Manuel Neuer concede a few penalties, and it has been an exceptional day out, even if the weather has taken a turn for the worse. So from me, James Surrogate, I have been delighted to bring you the live coverage of everything that's gone on today in Munich. But we'll leave it there for today and bid you an enjoyable rest of the summer, and let's say we cannot wait until the 2015-16 season really kicks off. 1st of August is the first competitive match against Wolfsburg, and to that we say, auf geht's Bayern, wir sind wir.
Ich drücke euch die Daumen.